Streams of consciousness on AI.
Hello, my friends. I am so excited because here we are. It is definitely Wednesday because we're all back together again. Darren, you're talking away. Now we know we're not
Sorry.
avatars. We're not avatars. This is not AI because Darren's talking when we're live on our event. And it's also not live because our special guest isn't here yet. So we're waiting for her. She's running a little late. Let's hope she arrives. I want to start off by saying this has been an amazing, amazing time. I never in my life thought I would be doing a LinkedIn Live series. I keep calling it a podcast because I don't know what we're supposed to call it. But having spent the last 6, now 7 weeks with my dear friends, Darren, who I've known for years, and Daisy, who is a new friend and someone I absolutely adore beyond belief. This has been a joy, really a joy. Oh, Stephanie's here. Yay. Yay, Stephanie's here. We were just waiting for you, my dear.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I just was trying to figure out how to get this all set up. And I went to LinkedIn because I thought you were doing a LinkedIn live stream.
We are, yeah. So for everybody who doesn't know, I found out the hard way on the first time we did this that we're not in LinkedIn Live as presenters. We have to be in a separate whole mechanism. So it's a lot of fun. But welcome, Stephanie. We were just saying this proves that we're not avatars, we're not AI, we're not fake, because we're messing it up all over the place, which is amazing. Stephanie, welcome to our show. And I'm really excited to dig in and hear from you and talk about all of this great stuff. I'm going to introduce you as well as just remind everybody who our panel is. There's a little bit of feedback going on.
That's what I was thinking too.
Let me
Is that me?
It might
Yeah,
be.
I think it is. Are you in a quiet spot or are you in a public spot?
I'm in a quiet spot in a room.
I think it's a little bit better.
I hear dishes and all kinds of stuff.
You hear dishes? There's no dishes. There's a fan going. Do you want me to turn the fan off?
That might be it. That might be the background.
Hang on a second.
That might be it.
Sorry, everybody. This is a real authentic show. There's no avatar.
Really authentic. Absolutely. So Stephanie, while you're doing that, Stephanie is the co-founder of Avatar Buddy. And we had a really wonderful conversation a couple of weeks ago and thought it'd be a terrific way to wrap up our series. We've been talking about demystifying AI, right? It is the shiny new toy of our lives. Everybody's getting into it in one way or another. And what does that mean? What are we doing with it? How are we engaging with it? And we've talked a lot over the past 6 sessions about how best to engage. And we'll wrap that up at the end and kind of remind everybody what we're doing. And last week, as we finished, it kind of brought to mind for me the notion of, okay, what's really going on? Where's the BS in all of this, right? Let's get down to brass tacks. And I was listening to a number of podcasts who were saying, oh, I've got this, great opportunity for you. You're just going to have your AI agents and they're going to do all your work. One of them was tons of feedback here. Let's see. Yeah, I hear it, Karen.
Okay, is this better now?
Let's see.
Yeah.
There was
people talking. There's somebody in the kitchen. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I heard it.
That's better.
I think it's my headsets. I took them out.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's better. That's way
much
better.
Okay, great. So let's get down to it. And Stephanie, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, if you would, briefly before we get into all the topics, and then we'll kind of come back to what we want to talk about. And of course, Darren and Daisy, a quick recap, if you would. Well, Stephanie, we'll start with you. Introduce yourself, if you would.
So Stephanie Sylvestre, co-founder of Avatar Buddy. Avatar Buddy creates function-specific AI agents and digital twins that leverage a proprietary small language model. And we provide this service through our AI advisors so that you can maximize your AI investment. And I have 30 years of IT experience, last 9 years in AI.
Fabulous. Darren, you want to go next?
I will come off mute. Yeah. Hey, Darren Fields, everybody. So author of Apex 8, builder of tech, consultant, and investor operator in startups. So that's what I'm doing. You guys, good to see you. Come find me. We'll talk. And over to Daisy.
Hi, welcome, Stephanie. I'm Daisy Watkins, founder and CEO of DW Concepts and LumaPath.ai. LumaPath is our products for marketing and how AI can see your business and how to brand yourself in this new AI age. I'm also a consultant CMO, so contact us if you have any questions about how AI can find you. I actually have a lot of questions for Stephanie with regards to a lot of the avatars. So I'm really excited about this topic, by the way, Stephanie. So thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, Shira.
Darren's loaded up too with questions. I'm Shira Halixer. I am the founder and chief momentum officer of Engage 3P. We focus on a human-centric approach to people, process, and platform. And I work with companies all over the world, making them the best they can be, right? So, Stephanie, we brought out our BS meter today for understanding. It's going to go to really understand what's true and what's not around AI, right? And so I think I started saying a moment ago that, you know, we hear all of this. Oh, your jobs are, this is how it all started, right? Your jobs are going away. Your world is going to be completely different. All you have to do is go to ChatGPT. And I was telling the guys earlier before you came on, I read a Medium article this morning, not all of it. I need to go back to it. But this guy wrote an article saying that he was doing some research and he did a Google search and somebody's ChatGPT search showed up in a Google search. There was some kind of leak or something happened and this was going on. So, you know, we've talked a lot about that. Darren talks about making sure you have a paid version of a GPT. And what do we need to do to make sure that we're getting the best out of it? So I want to start off with you with understanding what is off the shelf. What does it mean to get an AI agent? What does that do for somebody? What does that look like?
So off the shelf means that you go to a company and you give them your credit card. So like U.com is one that I think does a pretty good job. And they allow you to make agents and there's nobody kind of supervising you. Nobody's making sure that what you're doing makes sense. That's one of the off the shelf solutions. And then when you think about large language models like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or Gork or Gemini, those are the commercial the commercial side of the company's AI solution. So I would take OpenAI. OpenAI has a number of different GPTs and works with companies like us to have their developers be able to access the API. And the API is just an application call that integrates seamlessly. And then for people that aren't developers, they can go to ChatGPT and get the same functionality. And so without the heavy lifting of the technology.
Okay. So, you know, BS meter time. If I go to ChatGPT and say, I'm starting a new business, I want you to be my everything. You're going to be my chief marketing officer, and you're going to be my researcher, and you're going to be my salesperson. That's not happening. That's not happening.
So you could go to ChatGPT and you can tell it that, and it will give you some stuff, but unless you're an expert in any of those fields, you don't know if what it said makes sense or is accurate. You have to have the AI know how to behave a certain way. That's called a system prompt. So when people talk about prompting, and very few people take the time to distinguish the two. So there's a system prompt and then a user prompt. So a system prompt tells the AI how to behave like a marketer, behave like a CFO, behave like a social media influencer, behave like a social media influencer that has 5 million followers. And then a user prompt is, now that you have this system prompt, can you create me a TikTok post that's going to go viral? That's those are two different. So if you go into ChatGPT and tell it to create a TikTok post that will go viral, you can get a range of responses from I don't know how to do that to something that may or may not go viral.
Probably
or very
we don't
true.
want it to go viral for the reason it went viral, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's so very true. Very
ahead.
true,
No,
Stephanie.
go
It
ahead,
doesn't
Dave.
matter what the prompt is. It's really not more. It's not really what you create with the prompt. It's how you deliver that message, and if there's meaning to that message. And that's where the little bit of the marketing piece happens. Is you still talk to a human. ChatGPT's you prompts just to give you a prompt, but you're not still selling it or selling that what you're marketing. So
Yeah. So I like to tell people, if you're going to ChatGPT, you're going to Claude, you're going to Perplexity, you're going to Gemini, or even if you're using Avatar Buddies, AI agents, it's copy, paste, edit. It's not just copy and paste. Copy, paste, edit. And if I was typing this, copy and paste would be in like 14 font, and edit would be in 28 font, bold, italics, underline.
Yeah, we talk about the authenticity factor all the time. Now, you said to me, Darren, I know you're probably exploding right now, and I'll let you go in about a second. But when we had our first call, you said to me, I said, "Oh, it's such a great tool." And what was your response to that? Because I really want to dig into this concept. I know Darren does too.
So AI is not a tool. I don't believe it to be a tool. It's a social construct. Everything it touches, it changes. You have to think about things differently. You have to behave differently. And so if you view it as a tool, then all you do is you automate the dysfunctionality in your business process. And AI is like a magnifying glass, so whatever dysfunctionality is there will be magnified 100,000 times. So I'll give you an example of why I say it's a social construct. Okay. People are looking for jobs. People are using AI to write jobs. Recruiters are overwhelmed with the level of job applications, so they're using AI to vet candidates. What has happened is all the great candidates are still not getting jobs. The recruiters are frustrated because people are lying, they're cheating, they're getting through, and so a tool approach to that is, hey, let's just create a keyword matching solution, right? You send your resume and the AI keywords match, and if the keywords match and there's a certain level of degree of matching, you get moved up in the process. If there's no keyword match, you don't get moved up in the process. Now, the problem with that is that, do any of you guys know what my favorite word is?
No. That's the problem.
Well, if you don't know exactly, so I don't know what the recruiter's favorite words are. I don't know what they program the AI to look for. So I could be perfectly qualified and not have one solitary keywords in there because I'm now out. Then the second thing, so then smarter people said, what about if we just evaluate the resumes? Well, that seems like a pretty good thing. So we're going to train the AI to tell it what's a good resume, right? So I like to use software because this one's very easy. Everybody understands it. So you train, you go to Google and you get Google's top software engineers. And there's 100 of them, and maybe 85 of them came from Harvard, grew up middle class, and happened to identify as a white bro. And so then you feed that into the AI. And then as you feed that into the AI, Now, Shara comes in, has all the qualifications, can do the job, but you don't appear to be a white bro. You might be the other things. I don't know if you went to Harvard. So you get kicked out because the AI says you're not a good person.
Right.
So
Right.
those are how you use AI to apply tools, and bad outcomes come. So what we've done is we said, what if you advertise a job and you put a link, and the link is to the AI, and when you go there, the AI says, hello, here's some information about about the company, here's some information about the job, here's a link to the job, and the AI is given 8 questions and told, if you can get through all those 8 questions, you get a link to sign up to be interviewed. If you don't get through those 8 questions, the AI will tell you why you haven't gotten through the questions and give you an opportunity to appeal. So what is that going to do now? So the people that really want the job, that are qualified, will get through the interview because they will be able to answer the questions. And if they are vague, the AI asks follow-up questions so they can get through the questions. If people that are not qualified, don't waste the recruiter's time anymore, because probably by the time they finish question 1, the AI is like, sorry, you're not qualified.
But it's a screening mechanism. Sorry, dear. It's a screening mechanism that simply reading a resume is not doing. Success. Right?
Exactly. It's asking you a question. It's like, you have 12 years of sales experience in as head of the Americas. Great. What did you sell?
Right. Well, and I'll even take it back for a second. When screening first happened in HR technology, right? So I spent over 10 years in HR tech after being a chief people officer and doing that side of it, right? And so the thing that was so exciting when we were selling HR tech was you can do all this screening, right? It was the beginning of this, so that CVs weren't coming in. When I ran one of my law firms and was the head of recruiting, I would post a job for a patent prosecution lawyer with this kind of engineering degree and and I would get resumes that said, I work at Target, I want this job, right? And I mean, I don't know what the person was doing sending it in, but that's what so it was a manual. This was like the first screening of, are you a basic fit for it? The disadvantage was that the criteria that we were putting in was, I want 3 to 5 years of experience. Well, guess what? If somebody applied with 2.5, they wouldn't get through. If somebody applied with 5.5, they would get kicked out. Well, that's foolish, right? They've potentially missed amazing candidates. So the idea that there's something that's more flexible and more and not so rigid is a great way to start to try to get through that and make it better.
Exactly. So now we're at the space. So we're beta testing it right now. So I'm just going to do, if you indulge me, go to avatarbuddy.ai. There's a pop-up. You can test it. And then there's a feedback form. If you give us a feedback, if you give us feedback, you're entered to win either $50 gift certificate for yourself, or we'll donate $100 to any charity that you decide. All they have to do is have a 501c3 designation.
Amazing.
We will donate. We'll donate to it.
That's amazing. So let me. I'm going to make that a little bit better. It's avatar.ai.
Or avatarbuddy.co is okay as well. That's
okay,
fine.
Great. Okay, great. All right, Darren, go for it.
No, I appreciate all that. I think it's a good topic that you love, Shara. It's the humans, and we were talking about this, I think, last week, where we were talking about how, in my opinion, as a technologist, I love technology. I think that the recruiting world, I think HR is over relying on machines.
Yeah,
I think if you're in the business of hiring humans and you use machines to find humans, there's something inherently wrong with that math equation. So, the question I have, Stephanie, is how do you get this right balance? How do you pull some of it out? The automation is too much there. You have extremely talented people that are getting passed up by the machines. And this is a show about humans and having the humans rise above the machines. Because yes, you call it a social construct. I do agree with you, but really AI is a technology. It's actually a technology. And it's a technology layer. It's a whole new technology layer on top of everything that we do. Whether it's a tool or not, you're right. That's the parlor trick. When we used AI as a automatic measurement of my, electricity bill, that's a parlor trick. It's a bit of an undercut. But when we talk about humans getting hired in a job, there's a social impact. And I've got humans that are super talented that no one even looks at. So what do? How do you pull back the AI so it doesn't over rotate?
So that's where the social construct concept comes in, because we're addressing a problem. Recruiters are overwhelmed, and so expecting a recruiter to review 200 resumes in a day, even if that's the only thing that they do, is just unrealistic. So we're setting up people for failure. But if they're able to review 10 resumes, and those 10 resumes all come very close to meeting the job description, now they're already feeling better about what assignment you've given them. So they're not going to be zoning out or whatever would happen if you
why do they have 200 resumes to look at?
Well, they have 200 resumes to look at because everybody's using AI and people are just willy-nilly applying for jobs with it. So the other side of it, it's a social construct.
So I just want to just check in real quick. I asked you why there's 200 resumes, because back in the day we didn't have 200 a day. So again, my concern is that the automation is there now for me in the sales game, and for my partner in crime on the revenue side, Daisy. We can build a funnel, and I can get this phone to ring all day long. But there's a couple questions. Are they the people that I want to do business with? Number one. Number two, how am I going to get to them? So I've created my own problem. And it sounds to me like the HR recruiting world is creating their own problem. Why do you have 200 resumes? Right. So what I'm saying is, how do you tweak that adjustment? How do you take AI now? Because let's face it, before AI, you guys all still had 200 resumes. You were still automating everything. And I'm sorry that you were trying to hit the easy button. What I'm saying is maybe there's a little more work that needs to be done on the front end of all of this if you're going to recruit.
Exactly.
Two things. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
we're all want to jump in.
So the first thing is that now if somebody applies, it's not about as simple as just sending a resume. You have to talk about your experience. So you come on, you start talking about your experience. And the moment, if you don't have experience doing the job that the AI that you're applying for, it will be evident very quickly. And so you get exit stage right. So now you don't have to, the recruiter isn't tussling with 200 resumes. The recruiter is tussling with maybe 40 resumes, which is a way more manageable group thing. And the people are self-selecting not to continue with the process. And that's where the humanity comes back into the entire process. And that's why I say it's a social construct, because now we've taken a thing that everybody's resigned themselves and said, oh, there's no good way to screen resumes. There's no good ways to, so we just have to deal with this. And this is just, we're just going to do resume matching, and we're going to do keywords, and what comes, what comes. And the really, really good recruiters are going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to make sure that I have a network of people, and I'm just going to be going to my network of people and having them hook me up. And that's.
I will say this though, Darren, to your point. So when I was getting the person that worked at Target applying to be a patent prosecution lawyer, that was long before technology, right? So that was happening all along. If somebody wants a job, with the advent of LinkedIn and what is it, click apply or quick apply or whatever. One click apply. Thousands and thousands of people are applying because they load up their CV and they just go click all day long.
Yeah.
And there's no guardrails, right? So I think the problem for people looking for jobs, who I've heard this now for 2 years, people who are highly qualified. And I'm going to be honest, it happened to me when I was looking for a job and I saw a job description that was me. It was me on the page, and I never got through. And I know that thousands of people had applied. I mean, what do you do?
I think, we have to back this up a little bit. Let's take a look at the conscious confidence of what this is, and let's discover what's happened to the recruiting world. To me, advertising a job is no different than advertising the latest and greatest solar panels to be sold. You're selling a job. So in human capital, when I come to you as a CRO, and I'm building a company, and I have to generate an additional $2 million a quarter, I'm going to go down to the HR department and I'm going to say, I want excellent salespeople. And it starts with that. Now, if you want to automate that and you just want to run an ad, hey, everybody, there's this wide open job you can all click. Then you're inviting everything that you ladies are talking about. What I'm saying is stop. Put some time and effort in, and let's use AI to find them, and let's reach out to them, and let's actually, here's an idea, let's actually recruit. Forget the ad, forget the blanket ad. Let's go out and contact Daisy and Darren and Shara and have AI, instead of scanning resumes, scan for the criteria that you and your division head have come up with as what you think the profile is. I want somebody inquisitive. I want somebody intelligent. I want somebody that actually gives a crap about their job. Whatever that may be, ladies, is fine. But now AI is scanning, machine listening is occurring, everything's going. And now I've got 9 people today to reach out and actually come up with a way to say, hey, are you looking? Have you ever thought about making a career change? And put in a little work. Now you're going to recruit, you're going to draw in some talent. And I challenge the whole industry to think about that for a minute.
Okay, so Daisy, go ahead. You go ahead, because and then I want to come back with some ethical concerns about what Darren has just.
So Darren, we hear what you're saying in the recruitment role. It sounds fabulous that we have all this network of people that we can just pull off our back pocket. So Stephanie, just a little bit of background about me, other than AI and in my space right now. I came from the staffing agency world, so I've had over 20 years of staffing agencies. My last one is in healthcare. So I just want to give that background. So it is wonderful in that aspect, right? If we could have all this network, we can just dial up. I remember back in the day when I first started recruiting, the pads that I ordered was, who do you know? Every time I talk to somebody, who do you know? Who do you know? Because it's all about referrals. And that's the world we want all recruiters to be in, to be honest with you, but that's not happening in the real world. Suzanne just made a comment about the current job market. A lot of people have been laid off. So even when I first started to look for a job at one point, I'll apply for anything basically that sticks. Hence why there's all these applications, and hence why all these 200 needs to be scrubbed. And it's the best way possible, right? The best way possible. There's nothing going to be perfect. So the other half of what Stephanie's saying is like, then the human gets involved in the pre-screening, right? After it's been pre-screened to the last 9. That's when the human interaction happens. But there's no control of how many people are submitting. That's one guardrails we cannot put control over. People are free to apply wherever they want to. So it's then now internal processes that needs to happen, which is what they've created. Now, if I had to ask Stephanie, how does that world in the healthcare world, because it's so much different in the type of recruiting you're doing, right? So what's the solution around that in recruitment in healthcare versus just your regular corporate type of job, quote unquote? So that's my feedback to you, Darren. It's like it would be a lovely world if all recruiters and all companies have that, but it's not, the reality is not happening. And there is a lot of people out of jobs, so it is hard to kind of put the guardrails. That's my thoughts.
I hear you, but I want to make sure that we understand that AI is here. And so when I hear things like this is an area that's difficult and this is the way we used to do it, it's for me as an investor and as me as a builder, it's like, oh, ding, 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 ding. I wonder if there's a big crunch, a big computation, or a big sort of analysis that can happen. And then somewhere in the middle, we can hit the Goldilocks point. So You know, that's my challenge, Stephanie, and it's a real one.
So your recommended solution creates a lot of privacy and ethical concerns, because how are you going to get these people's contact information? So you could go to LinkedIn. How do you get my contact information from LinkedIn unless I decide to expose it? So
Well, the good recruiters just ping me and say, hey, this is what I am, this is what I do. Do you have any interest? I'll get out of
yeah,
here.
yeah, but that's one way to solve the problem. But how many people are you going to need to be able to go through LinkedIn to go find somebody and say, okay, this person? That's how it used to be back in the day, in the 90s when I first started working. I'd get recruiters calling me all the time. Hey, I got this new job. Do you want a new job? But that became unsustainable. And when you talk about AI, so I'm sure there are recruiters that are still out there that will say, "Hey, that's what I do," and I applaud those recruiters because they're still doing it the white glove way, which makes you feel like a human being. But then there are also recruiters that like will pull my resume from 1998 and say, "Here, there's this job that matches your resume." I was like, "Dude, that's in 1998. This has been, I don't know, almost 30 years later, and you're still using a resume." So that's not a good recruiter. Now, if you put AI on LinkedIn, because you're advocating an AI solution that will make this process easier, the moment you put AI on LinkedIn, you start violating LinkedIn's terms and conditions. So unless somebody builds,
So I get that. That's just a moniker because there's a gazillion data sources, right? And so got it on LinkedIn, but okay, what LinkedIn can't do, Zoom might be able to do, so on and so forth, right? This is the same. This is the data access really starts to become a problem in the AI era. And the question is who's willing to play with AI on the data side and who's not, and how long will that hold up? But regardless of that, LinkedIn is just one of what, 15 or 20 ways to get to people, right? So
yeah, I'm just using LinkedIn as an example. The point that I'm making is AI can't do that kind of search yet, because if it does it today, it is violating people's privacy, and there's some ethical concerns around it. I for one would never advocate anything that I know would be violating people's privacy and has ethical concerns. Now, if somebody was to build a solution that says, hey, when you're applying, you're looking for a job, you put your name and your telephone number and your skills in there, not LinkedIn, and anybody can go and crawl that. That's, if you do that, and then anybody with any AI can crawl that, and that's where you're cooking.
Yeah.
And I am predicting
you're solving it right. You're solving it right now.
Yeah, and so
right now.
I predict that this will be something will happen in a few years time. It's just like when I was a little kid, the thought of like taking your picture and then put it somewhere or passing it on my door so that everybody can see it, that was unheard of. Now we post their pictures of our kids all the time because social construct, Darren, society has changed to make it acceptable for you to post pictures of your children. So when I say AI is a social construct, society now has to get to, it is okay for somebody to have your phone number, your email address, and information about who you are. And it's not a violation of privacy. There's no ethical concerns about, we are not there yet. I don't know when we're going to get there. We get there, that AI solution comes in. And then, yes, then hiring becomes a proactive thing. And I'm just sitting on the beach and all of a sudden I get pinged by Daisy. Hey, you want to come work with me? And I go, wow, I like Daisy's company. And then it's just about me coming and talking to Daisy. Or do we have chemistry? We have chemistry. Great. We're moving forward. And then the hiring process becomes really simplified again.
Yeah. And I think the reality of it is that you just put some parameters and some conscious competence around it, right? So when you talk about the social construct, you talk about the fact that we have the old ways of, well, that's an invasion of privacy. You don't need to know their number, their contact information. That's a violation of privacy. Oh, well, here's Daisy. So as AI, as the knowledge shifts from the old ways, what was behind locked doors and what was behind policy and procedure, that is blowing up so fast. It's not even funny, because now I can look up anything and everything I want on all three of you at any time. Yes, that's scary, big brother. Okay. But what you're saying here is that the social construct is changing. So clearly you can't yell at me for knowing your name, because your name is all over social media. So now we got to back up and say, what is really the crunch? What's the computation? Look, I can tell you, based upon machine listening and using technology to scan millions of social profiles, I could probably start to tell you who's probably looking for a job, if not for the fact that, hey, I was just laid off and I'm looking for a job. I also like the fact that we can take AI, like you said, and we can create a database. If some 40,000, software sales guys just got laid off, let's give them a place to actually open up their world and just say, hey, I am looking for a job. Here's the latest and greatest on who I am. And now my recruiters can go through and go, these are pre-qualified people that are looking for a job that already told me what they are before they even know what the job is. Now I'm getting a true sense of who they are, not just doing what AI does today. Oh, this is load in the ad. I'll find the keywords. I'll match it up, and then nothing happens. If it's much more human and much more authentic, using AI in the right places and the right time and just adjusting where it is in the construct, I think you got a home run, ladies. I think you can hire quality people that really deserve the job.
Well, and I'll give you an update in a couple of months, because that's what we just built out. We're beta testing it right now, and we're beta testing it in the real world. We're not beta testing it behind some walls. And based on how our beta test goes this week, we'll take down the beta test and we'll put up the real job. Or we might need another week. But right now, the feedback has been, I will tell you, the feedback's been really positive. People are like, this is like ingenious. I cannot believe we didn't even think about doing this before. And so we're getting positive. I mean, like the negative, the constructive feedback has been, hey, by the way, can you make the timeout longer? And I was like, no. Like if you're interviewing for a job and you're inactive for 10 minutes, I was just like, you're not engaged. Like that's not a.
So Stephanie, how I'm just curious, how big is the size of this company? How many employees do they have?
Which company?
What your beta one, and then how many positions do they have open? Just curiosity.
I'm beta testing it with my own company.
Oh, with your own company. Okay, cool.
I need to hire a head of sales.
Okay.
And I was like, the last time I put a job out, it was a train wreck. I'm like, how do I fix that problem? I don't want to go through that problem again. So,
well, Stephanie, I have to tell you, I know somebody for you. So I think I have someone, because we've all been in the recruiting side of it. I actually may have, once it's in your blood, it never leaves. I think so. We'll talk after. I think that here's what's really interesting, right? Whether it's recruiting for an individual for a job, or in your case, look, you've been in sales forever, right? How did you, in 1723, how did you go out and find companies that were looking?
What are you saying?
The olden days.
Stephanie, one of us puts our foot in our mouth at least once an episode. So it's okay.
How did you know that a company was going to buy from you? What were you doing? It's no different, right? It's exactly the same thing. It's all sales. Recruiting is sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it. It's our last show of the series, and I just, had to get one in for you.
No apologies. Let's just go. Yeah. I mean, I do want to know the answer to the question. It's like, how do we? What I love about the AI era is that you can do two things. You can take a look at 20 years ago and go to the fundamentals, get conscious competence around it, then get conscious competence around the power of what you've got, and figure out how to converge them.
And I love that. That's actually That's actually how we approach it. I don't know that I would have said it quite that way, because those are not words in my vocab, but I love the way you say it. I'm gonna actually make sure I go back to that piece of the recording. And
please take it. Please take it.
Yeah, but yes. So the idea is we look at the business process and we say, where has the biggest pain point, and how can AI solve that piece of the business process? And we leave the rest of the business process to the humans, because once you fix that pain point, the quality of the work that the humans start delivering, you don't need to do anything else, right? There is a point of no return in software where you automate everything, where it takes you longer to get the work done. Like I'll just tell you like this story that this guy said to me, that like I was chuckling. I'm in DC and I'm in the Walgreens and I'm trying to pay for something, and I'm trying to pay with my phone, because I want to live a life where everything can be paid on my phone. And the phone was just not cooperating. And the guy goes, you could have already taken out your credit card, pay for this, and be out the door.
Single point of failure. Single point of failure.
And as he's telling me that, I'm still fighting with the phone. And I was like, you know what? He's right. It took me twice as long to pay with the phone as the credit card.
Because you were going to make sure you could do it.
Yeah.
I think that brings us to something that I wanted to throw up on the screen. I'm gonna share something for just a moment, if you don't mind. I think you said it, Stephanie. There needs to be a process, right? We need to be ready. We need to understand, as we're going into this, what is it that we're trying to solve, right? What you said, what is the problem we want to solve, right? And so these are just 5 key points that I like to approach when I'm talking to clients about getting ready for any kind of, forgive me for saying, transformation, right? Anytime that they want to make some changes to what's going on, it isn't just about the technology. It's about making sure that people are prepared, right? Understanding what they're going to do. It's data and what you're doing, and making sure that that's set up properly, that guardrails are in place, and that you understand that automation alone is not the key, right? It's not everything. We are not going to automate everything. We're not going away. It keeps coming back to the humans and why we're here. Right. So this is just, a quick little I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but just a quick understanding of what readiness can be. And I'm happy to talk about it more. I will offer to anyone who is interested, if they put, let's say, we'll put a comment in the chat. Let's say if you say checklist, put checklist in the comments. I will send you our checklist to help you get ready for this kind of transformation and what you may need to do. But I think that it's so important to understand that it is a human element. That's what we're doing here, right? It isn't just about loading up an avatar or loading up a GPT and saying, great, we're ready to go. Let's run our business.
And absolutely. And it's actually, this is really interesting that you have this, because I'm actually not at my house right now. I'm at a client's house, and we just went through this whole list where we said, let's talk about what the problems are. Mm-hmm. We just went through, what's your emotional response to AI? Then we say, what problems do you want to solve? How are we going to solve them? Because some of them don't require any AI, just might require a pivot in how we think about stuff.
Right.
And that's why I say it's a social construct, because the society and how we behave and how we show up has to change in order for us to maximize AI. Otherwise, what we have is just a whole bunch of tools that are dangerous. It's like giving like a 7-year-old a knife set for Christmas.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Chucky.
It could be. Could be.
I mean, they might not create a mess, but there's a strong possibility at least a good chunk of them will create a mess.
Give your 14-year-old the keys to the car. That's another one.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That one. Well, that one's a little bit more dangerous. I mean, like the 7-year-old's a little contained. They're on in their house. Right? The 14-year-old's on the road. You don't know what they could do. But you,
It's true, right? It's all about the process, and it's all about the people before you get to the technology, right? If you have bad processes in your organization, technology is not going to, you said at the beginning, it's going to amplify what's wrong. It's not going to fix it. Darren, what have you said from the very beginning, right? AI isn't gonna fix everything, right?
Yeah, it changes everything, but it doesn't fix everything, and I think, again, there's a lot of convergence of titles. There's a lot of convergence of operational skill. There's a lot of convergence of capabilities. And, on my side, revenue operations is really, it is marketing. It is sales. It is go to market. But it's the systems that are going to support it where they're supposed to support it and get out of the way when they're supposed to get out of the way. I love your story, Stephanie, about the guy at Walmart. He is over relied on automation. He's over rotated onto digital. He has a single point of failure and he has a poor output. It's, again, I keep saying the same thing. I think that the interesting thing is human operations, or human, whatever term you're going to come up with, Shara, and you guys come up together. But the human capital process is going to merge a little bit. And, I think when we talk about, like Suzanne's talking about, the people getting, the flood, and the people that are out there and they want to find a job, some of that is because of this social construct that you talk about, Stephanie. It's changing, but we've got to change in the leadership game, as a leader of companies, big, small, little, tall, whatever. We've got to figure out how AI is going to accelerate the hard parts, like you talked about, Stephanie, the heavy lifts, and then get out of the way on the simple things like, yeah, here's my card, thank you, I gotta go, right? So it's not a fix-all. So it accelerates everything or changes everything a little bit to a lot. There's a spectrum. That's one of our favorite words on this show. But it doesn't fix everything. So getting that balance right, I believe in my heart of hearts, is what this show is about, which is get human augmentation working. And that's from Chris Griffith of StarPoint Technologies. He gave me that one because I was talking as an AI technologist one day, and he goes, Darren, I got to stop you, because these guys build systems and machines. They speak language, and they go, what you're talking about, Darren, with AI is human augmentation, not the other way around. And I'm like, that brilliant. I'm stealing that. So when we talk about HR and human augmentation, that's where I look to big things from you guys.
I love Suzanne's. And if somebody wants to respond to Suzanne's comment, I have it up on the screen. I think it's fantastic.
I'll respond really quickly, similar to what I kind of went on a talk about last week about generational. Like, we are dealing with different generations. On my end anyways, how I see it, who we're marketing to, how we're marketing to them are going to be very, very different. So instead of just A and B testing, now I'm going to have to do like 4 generational testing, right, Stephanie, if you want to think of it that way, because they receive information differently, they disperse information differently, how they were taught and how they grew up in their generation also is a factor to that. And so, yes, absolutely, there is, and then along with that is their personality, their work ethics, how they see people, who their role models are versus how they were raised. So there's a lot of different things that comes into that. So yes, absolutely, there's going to be some expectations on the job, but how we communicate, I think, is where the generational gap happens. And if you have a high EQ and you're very in tune with all these generations, that's how you're going to be a successful leader. If you're just one-minded with the way things are done, or this is how it was done the entire time this organization's been running, that's been traditional, you got to get out of it, because you're never going to grow. And second, if you are very traditional, you're also never going to expand with technology or with AI, along with your being human. There's a lot of elements now that come into play. So you have technology being human at the same time, where you don't cross those lines, but make sure that humanity is still in place. Technology is technology. AI is just AI. It's just another, again, quote unquote, tool to make us get faster, better, but it's really not the end of our humanity, where we're going to be walking with robots. Yes, robots are going to help us walk down the streets or drive the taxis, but everything else is created by humans. So that's my bottom line.
So I have two things to say. So Darren, you can't steal this line because we're going to be patenting it. But human-digital handshake is what we want. That's what we're trying to build. A solution that's a human-digital handshake. So the human and the AI is on a continuum, and it comes based on what it is. Sometimes it's more the human, sometimes it's more the AI, but it's a continuum. And then I'll just co-dream for a moment. One of the things that I personally want to do, and I am actively looking at this, is a personality chip that has a personality chip that has your personality imprinted on it, has evidence-based therapeutic intervention that is hooked into biometrics to monitor your heart rate, blood pressure, and pulse, and your brainwave to see what is it you're thinking about. And that chip is implanted in you, and as long as you're within equilibrium, it's there. If you go out of equilibrium, either above or below where you normally are, then the chip wakes up and says, Darren, you good? And that reorienting already starts. And then Darren can talk to the chip and say, no, I'm good, fine. Or no, I'm not good. Help me get back to equilibrium. And because Darren has his techniques for getting back to equilibrium, the chip would give him the steps to remind him on what to do. And so now you're in effect regulating your emotions. And we all know that it's EQ that determines your success level. And so to me, that's the ultimate in human digital marriage. And that's what I would want us to do, not build out a 150-pound robot. I mean, who's going to walk around with a 150-pound robot all day long?
Interesting.
That's kind of amazing. I have to say, this has been incredible, and we have about 8 minutes left. I had about 7 other topics that I wanted to address on this one call, on this one session. So we definitely have to come back. And Stephanie, we absolutely want to know what happens with your beta. We want to hear the results and see it in action. If you would remind everybody again what they can do to maybe win a little money for themselves or their charity. I think that's great.
Go to our website, avatarbuddy.co. There's a pop-up test. Provide us feedback. We'll enter into a drawing for either $50 for yourself, whatever gift card you want, or a $100 donation to a charity of your choosing. We are not having any judgment against the charity, as long as it's a 501c3 that has a current designation.
That's very cool. That's amazing. I want to remind everyone too, if you would like from me your readiness score for your organization's AI readiness, just comment checklist below in the comments or send me a message. I would love to hear from you about this topic or any other topic. We have a few kind of wrap-ups. I mentioned a number of times that this is our series finale for this particular series. We're going to be taking off the next 2 weeks and coming back with lots more. But in the meantime, I want to give Daisy you an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about what we've been talking about the last 7 weeks and your place in all of this and what you offer everyone as well.
Thank you, Shira. Thank you for everybody that has joined us in the last 6-7 weeks, I guess. So my world is it is in the AI world and how LLMs will find your business. And Stephanie, if you have something to say about this, we're no blue links anymore. This is the opposite of, the links, the 0 clicks, all that type of stuff. There's algorithms in SEO, but are there algorithms in AEO? Absolutely there is, but they're based on authenticity, your credibility and trustworthiness. So those are the things. So like Stephanie said, AI can create a prompt for you and you'll still be just a regular person. But if you don't add that that personal prompt or why you are valuable and why you're different than the rest in the marketing space, AI is not going to see it because it has no trustworthiness of your credibility, and how it's all attached to it. So how AI will find you is all about how you tell your story, being authentic and telling what you truly have helped others in this world and what your business has done for others. So I'll leave it at that. But if you need anything, lumapath.ai, we have some free guides on your industry. If you don't find your industry in there, just DM me. And there's also you can schedule a call as well. Thank you.
Darren.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Stephanie.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, for me, it's really simple. Of course, I'm busy all the time, but Apex 8, the book, I think you guys can get it on Amazon. You can get it in digital form. You can get it in paperback. You can get it in hardback, so, but really Apex 8, the book was written for everybody. In my world, if you're a technical person and you're finding yourself kind of trying to find your way as a salesperson in the AI age, because it's not an era, it's an age. If that's where you're at, that's what I would say. Is I wrote this book, I released it in July, and it's written for a lot of you. A lot of you have been coming to me lately. What are you doing? How are you keeping busy? How did you do it? It's all in the book, guys. It's really a conscious competence piece where I'm teaching salespeople how to get really in tune with how they sell today, with some of the secrets, and how to use that in AI. So good reviews so far. I go check it out. If you don't get that book, go buy another book. But definitely get some conscious competence about what it takes to be a good salesperson in the AI era. It's not what it was. It just isn't.
Yeah. Stephanie, did you want to say something?
Yes, I just want to leave people with hope and a prediction that most people are going to say I'm practically insane, but I predicted a lot of these things and it seems to be coming true. I predict that AI will force us to become more human and will require that we interact with each other on a human to human level, because we will not know how to discern what's real from what's not unless I know you as a human being. So it will require that I have to get to know you. And back in the 70s and 80s, remember the dinner parties where your parents my parents would have two couples over and you would sit down and they would get to know each other over the weekend, over dinner and maybe some drinks. And then if somebody said something negative about a person, you'd be like, no, that's out of character for them because you actually knew them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what AI is going to force us to do, because how else am I going to know that what Darren says is real unless I meet Darren in person? I sit and I have coffee and I have to talk to him multiple times to get to know who he is. I can't know him in one sitting.
Very, very true, Stephanie. I push that a lot with the content. Like when I say I have 146 questions for you to get to know you, they'll go, what? I'm going, well, it's about your business, it's about you. So it's all about them being a human and how to translate that storytelling into marketing. So thank you for that. Thank you.
We couldn't end this any better. To say that AI is not just making us more valuable, it's actually making us more critical, right? It's going to engage us even more. It's going to bring us more forward in our lives. And I think that gives me so much hope. And I'm so excited about it. I want to say thank you, a little cheers. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to my new friends and my not so new friends. And please join us again in a couple of weeks. Follow us on all the media. We have YouTube channels and Instagram and all the things and the LinkedIns and everything that we do, because we want to continue to be human. We want to continue to contribute, and we want to continue to bring value to our worlds and everyone else's. So we hope you reach out to us. Let us know what you're up to. If you want to be on our show, we would love to have you. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you all in a few weeks, and not just here, but everywhere.
And Shira, I look forward to continue the conversation. Now I have a reason to go to Tel Aviv.
Yay, sounds great. I love it. All right, everybody.
Just don't go today. She's globe trotting today. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to today, so don't come, but
Yeah.
soon.
She's not
Yes.
drinking in the middle of the day, lady people, by the way. She is in
And
another
well,
country.
it's
Or
always
she
5
is.
o'clock
I don't know.
somewhere. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
good point, Dave. Good point.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
FYI, she's in another
She's
country.
not drinking in the middle of the day. It's quite late, actually.
It's okay. It's all good. Thank you, everybody. Keep being
Thanks,
human.
guys.
It's going to be
Bye,
good.
everyone.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you,
Take
Stephanie.
care.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye.